Hello, everyone, and welcome to our live coverage of Starlink Group 11-16 mission launch from West Coast, that is from Pad Space Launch Complex 4 East at Vandenberg Space Force Base in California. If it's your first time here, hi, my name is Dipta Maitra, performing the commentary for today's mission launch, and you are watching AstroYonder live.
Roger, 0G, and I feel fine. Capsule is turning around.
Houston, we see a nominal MECO. Welcome to space.
We hope you all are doing fine and excited about the upcoming SpaceX Starlink launch. We are super excited bringing you the coverage of SpaceX's 489th overall launch and the 61st Falcon 9 launch of this year, which also suggests that SpaceX is going to have their 500th mission launch this year with just 12 more launches to go. So this is going to be a major milestone for them. Today's launch marks the 20th one from Vandenberg for SpaceX as they continue building their incredible launch cadence for this year. Well, also let us know your prediction for the month when SpaceX will reach its 500th mission launch. We'll be glad to hear from you guys. Now we are awaiting for a Falcon 9 liftoff at 3:32 p.m. Pacific time, 6:32 p.m. Eastern time from California for a southeasterly launch for SpaceX Starlink mission. The Starlink mission 11-16 will launch a batch of 26 Starlink satellites to low Earth orbit. Now, before we dive into the mission details, on behalf of AstroYonder team and our awesome moderators, thank you all for joining us for today's launch. We are grateful to have you as part of the stream. Really appreciate you being here, and a huge shout out to our amazing YouTube community for the support as we bring you detailed coverage of space launches with all the stats and in-depth insights. We are truly grateful to have you all with us. Now, I would really appreciate it more if you guys could join the chat and let us know where you are joining from. Additionally, feel free to share any questions, suggestions, or opinion with us. We would love to hear from you guys. Also would like to welcome Marcos Antonio for joining us. I hope you are doing well, Marcos. Thanks for tuning in. And we'll hope that you will be enjoying the stream as well. Now, just a heads up, it's me only managing the launch coverages on my own. So if by chance we face any technical issues, please bear with me and be tuned in. There is absolutely nothing to worry about. I will do my best to guide you through the upcoming Falcon 9 rocket launch happening in approximately 39 minutes from now. Now, SpaceX already did adjusted their liftoff time for today, but as of now, SpaceX is targeting a liftoff time of Falcon 9 from Vandenberg Space Force Base at 3:32 p.m. Pacific time, 6:32 p.m. Eastern time on Friday, May 23rd of 2025. Now let's get back to today's mission details. So far, the report suggests that the weather is looking good for today's Falcon 9 launch opportunity and the range is ready to support. Weather officials keeping a keen eye on the weather for any probability of violations, and the forecast calls for a temperature of 18 degrees Celsius, scattered clouds with 33% cloud cover and a wind speed of 18 miles per hour. But anyways, we hope that they are able to launch on time and not have to push off too far. Now let's take a look at the payload details for Starlink Group 11-16 mission. Starlink satellites built in Redmond, Washington. Today's payload consists of 27 Starlink version 2 mini optimized satellites. Just a reminder, today's payload does not consist any of the direct-to-cell satellites. Today's launch is the 44th dedicated Starlink mission of the year. Before this launch, SpaceX has already sent up 1,041 Starlink satellites in 2025 alone, surpassing the 1,000 mark. And with this launch, the count jumps to 1,068. Additionally, if we include the 14 version 3 variants launched on previous 2 Starship flights, those Starlink simulators, the count rises more, with a total of 1,082 Starlink satellites launched this year. That's really a remarkable pace, we must say. Now, each of these Starlink satellites is having 3 advanced Ku band phased array antennas, 3 dual band parabolic antennas using Ka and E bands, and a dual solar array that spread out to about 100 feet wide with a total surface area of 52.5 square meters. Now, not to forget, these 2 solar arrays are also aeroneutral, which means that enables the satellites to have faster on-orbit maneuvers. And each satellite is equipped with high-capacity battery to power everything on board. Now, each Starlink satellite features 3 space laser transponders, also known as optical intersatellite links, ISL for short, for intercommunication operating at speeds up to 200 Gbps. Starlink satellite make use of argon-fueled Hall effect thrusters for in-orbit maneuvering. Previously, which was Krypton based, and this switch was mainly due to the cost effectiveness argon provides compared to Krypton. Now just a quick context regarding that. Relative to Krypton, the argon required to fuel Starlink version 2 satellites will be practically free, so that's why they made that switch. Now to put it into perspective, fueling its next constellation of almost 30,000 version 2 satellites could cost SpaceX less than fueling 4,000 version 1 satellites, which were based on Krypton. Also, SpaceX claims that its second generation thrusters using argon has 2.4 times the thrust and 1.5 times the specific impulse of the previously Krypton based fuel thrusters. So I hope you like that short context I wanted to share with you guys. Now today's batch is going to be deployed initially in an orbit with an altitude of approximately 265 kilometers with an inclination of 53.16 degrees. But the operational orbit will be up at around 535 kilometers with the same inclination of 53.16 degrees. Each optimized version 2 mini weighs approximately 1,268 pounds, equivalent to 575 kilograms, which is about 22% lighter than the original version 2 mini design. Now once again, just for the context, each of the unoptimized version weighs around 1,763 pounds, equivalent to 800 kilograms. Now, before moving on, would like to have a pause describing the payload details and would like to welcome Pop Tripika, one of our moderator, joining us after a brief gap in between. I hope Pop Tripika you are well and everything at your end is fine, because I was thinking about you that why you are not joining us in the last two stream. You didn't showed up, so that's why. Although I guess Pop Fairmaid will be also joining us in a while, but do tell me that how are you doing, Pop Tripika? Now coming back to the payload details, this Starlink satellites, they uses the custom built star tracker to find their position, altitude and orientation for optimal broadband throughput. And additionally, they have an onboard autonomous collision avoidance system that uses the US Department of Defense debris tracking database for avoiding collisions with space junk, other spacecraft, and other Starlink satellites autonomously. Now, to understand the importance of autonomous collision avoidance system, here is once again a quick short context. According to a SpaceX report published last year, Starlink satellites performs 275 collision avoidance maneuvers each day. And in that course of past 6 months, when this report got published, Starlink satellite performed 50,000 collision avoidance maneuvers. So I hope these figures can make you understand the significance of an autonomous collision avoidance system. Now, it's a good time to look at the upgrades in the Starlink version 2 minis and how they are allowing SpaceX to pack more satellites into each mission. So, firstly, the key optimization is 22% weight reduction, bringing each satellite's launch mass to approximately 575 kilograms compared to the original version 2 mini's 800 kilogram. Now, this is just the launch mass of a single satellite. Now, if we'll be considering a whole batch of a satellite getting launched, that makes a huge difference. Now, this lighter design achieved through upgraded avionics, propulsion, and power systems, which allows more satellites to fit within the Falcon 9's payload capacity. Additional enhancements includes a Doppler dual band antenna for improved bandwidth, to be precise, which is having a capacity of 96 Gbps per satellite, and mass optimized component tailored for efficient stacking and deployment. So thanks to all this optimization that allows Falcon 9 to carry up to 29 satellites per mission, around 6 more than the original version 2 mini design. Now some quick fun facts. The first version 2 mini satellites got launched back in February 27, 2023 from Cape Canaveral. And that time they launched 21 Starlink satellites of version 2 mini. Next up, they launched 24 Starlink version 2 mini satellites on Starlink Group 6-39, which was the then highest count for version 2 minis. On January 21st, 2025, this year, with Group 11-8, SpaceX launched 27 optimized version 2 mini satellites for the first time. Then again on March 31st this year, 2025, with Group 6-80, they launched 28 optimized version 2 minis for the first time, breaking the previous high of 27. Now, once again, With May 4, 2025 Starlink launch, SpaceX broke its own record by launching 29 version 2 mini satellites, surpassing the previous high of 28. And as of now, that was the biggest batch yet for version 2 mini variant. In comparison, the highest for version 1 is 60 satellites, and for version 1.5, it's 56. With today's launch, it marks the 19th time SpaceX launching its optimized version 2 mini variants, bringing the total to 520 number of satellites just for the optimized variants, I'm saying. Now, today is the 7th time they are launching a batch of 27 Starlink satellites. Now, it might make you ask that why go with optimized Starlink versions and why are we seeing so many of them packed into one launch? So, answer to that is that SpaceX is increasing launching optimized version 2 mini Starlink satellite as a strategic move to expand and upgrade its satellite internet network. These satellites acts as a transitional solution until the larger version 3 variant can launch aboard Starship. The lighter and more advanced version 2 mini offer roughly 4 times the capacity of earlier versions, allowing more to be get launched per mission, as mentioned before, up to 29 at a time, which helps reducing the cost and accelerating the deployments. This helps SpaceX meet rising global demand, replace aging or deorbited version 1 or version 1.5 satellites, and maintain consistent coverage while building towards their authorized generation 2 constellation of up to 30,000 satellites. Now, for example, back in February 2024, SpaceX announced deorbiting 100 older version 1 satellites due to a potential flaw, and recent data shows that they deorbit about 4 to 5 satellites each day. So this creates a void in the constellation, which SpaceX addresses by launching the new version 2 mini optimized satellites. I hope that give you a bit of more insight. Now, I know it's early in the stream, but if this stream fuels your love for space, give this stream a like. It's kind of fine tuning the trajectory of our mission to build a community with amazing space enthusiasts like you. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification so that you won't miss a single launch update. Here at AstroYonder, we believe together we will build the ultimate constellation of space enthusiasts, and we would be super grateful for your support. Now, please allow us a couple of seconds to check whether the launch is on time or not and to stay updated. Yes, as of now, the SpaceX is sticking with their current liftoff time, so no worries. Absolutely fine. Meanwhile, well, Pop Tipika, that's good to know that you were good at least and things are fine at your end. And we are glad to have you back again. More glad than how much glad you were. So thanks for tuning in, Pop Tipika, and joining us. Really missed you in these last two streams. Now let's take a look at the flight record for the booster supporting today's Starlink 11-16 mission. The booster with tail number 1075 supporting today's mission is quite a mature booster, you can say, with 17 previous flights in its record, including missions like SDA-0A for the Space Development Agency, also known as SDA, a United States Space Force Direct Reporting Unit, Sarah 2 mission for German Armed Forces, Transporter 11 mission is SpaceX's rideshare mission which launched 116 satellites, and additionally this booster supported 14 Starlink missions. Now awaiting its 18th flight approximately 22 minutes from now. The last mission supported by today's booster was Starlink 11-4 on 1st of February 2025. So that means today is the second flight of the booster and landing on, of course, I Still Love You drone ship for this year. The booster's turnaround time as of today is 111 days. Interestingly, today's mission will be the 18th consecutive launch of this booster from Pad Space Launch Complex 4 East at Vandenberg. And previously, there have been 14 landings made by the booster on, of course, I Still Love You drone ship, and 3 on landing zone 4. So that's all about the booster supporting today's mission. Now let's have a look at the bar graph showing the number of Falcon 9 launches each year. Well, Popter Pika, yes, it's a respectable booster, although we have some veteran boosters also who deserves more respect than this one at least. 28 times like having a flight record. It's incredible, and I wish that booster should be reaching the 30th mark. Now, before this upcoming launch, SpaceX completed its 60th Falcon 9 launch for this year with the Starlink 12-15 mission launch from Cape Canaveral on May 20th, 2025, upscaling the number of annual launches made till the year 2021. SpaceX is now having 29 more than the launches made in that year, that is 2021. Now with today's launch of Starlink 11-16 mission, the bar graph shows 61 number of Falcon 9 launches for this year. And with that, SpaceX will be having equal number of launches made in 2022, that is 61 of them. But SpaceX is now less than halfway to the number of launches made in year 2023, still 35 launches away from catching up to the 2023's record with today's mission. And as of today, SpaceX is yet to reach even the half of the launches made last year. That's supposed to be 66 number of launches if we will be making 132 in a half. As we know, previously SpaceX completed 132 launches of Falcon 9 last year, marking a year with the highest annual launches to date for SpaceX. SpaceX is now aiming for another record-breaking year with around 172 to 180 Falcon 9 launches just alone, apart from upcoming planned Falcon Heavy launches, if any, surpassing last year's highest annual launch count. That's an ambitious target, but hopefully it gets achieved. Now, once again, we'll be skipping the pre-launch timeline since it's a typical Falcon 9 launch for Starlink mission, which is having absolutely no deviation in any of the pre-launch events. However, there's one point I would like to highlight just for your quick knowledge, and you might be already knowing about that. The strong back reclining process at Vandenberg differs from that at Cape Canaveral and Kennedy Space Center. Here at Vandenberg, we recline the strong back 13 degrees, whereas at Cape Canaveral and Kennedy Space Center, we recline the strong back about 1.5 degrees away from Falcon 9. So that's the only thing which is having a deviation in today's pre-launch schedule as this is a Vandenberg flight. Now, just to remind you guys, and for those who are joining us now, SpaceX is currently targeting a liftoff time of Falcon 9 from Vandenberg Space Force Base at 3:32 p.m. Pacific Time, 6:32 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday, May 23rd of 2025. Now let's go ahead and briefly step through the trajectory for today's Starlink mission. Falcon 9 leaving the pad from Space Launch Complex 4 East from Vandenberg Space Force Base with the spacecraft on board, the batch of 27 Starlink satellites for a southeast trajectory along the coast of Southern California heading into a low Earth orbit. That is to the 11th shell of second generation Starlink mega constellation indicated by that green line on your screen. The red line you see indicates where Falcon 9 first stage will land after stage separation, just a little later leaving California's coast. This is going to be a off the land landing, a drone ship landing using autonomous spaceport drone ship named, of course, I Still Love You, here on the west coast. This will going to be the 132nd landing on, of course, I Still Love You drone ship to date, if successful. Now some recovery specifics for you. The planned booster recovery is approximately 590 kilometers with estimated fairing recovery approximately 624 kilometers downrange. And the stage 2 debris re-entry will be in the South Pacific Ocean on its second orbit. Now on your screen are some of the stats related to drone ship as of today. Currently, we know there are 3 in SpaceX's drone ship fleet. Out of 3, of course, I Still Love You is based here at California, and other 2, just read the instructions and a shortfall of gravitas, are in Florida. We anticipate the addition of a 4th drone ship as promised by SpaceX earlier, but as of now, we don't have any information regarding that. So let's keep our fingers crossed and wait for the addition of the 4th drone ship. Now, speaking of fairing recovery, SpaceX will utilize a recovery vessel to retrieve both the fairing halves from the Pacific waters. The 2 halves of the payload fairing will be recovered slightly farther, approximately 34 kilometers downrange from where the first stage lands on the drone ship. Of course, I Still Love You, after they will smoothly splash down with the guidance of parachutes. We know the total cost of 2 halves of the fairing is nearly $6 million, so it's quite obvious that SpaceX aims to recover the fairings for repetitive use, mirroring its approach with rocket boosters, upholding the motto of reusability and sustainability. Now you can see on your screen how a fairing recovery operation looks like. Although the recovery vessel on your screen is Dirk performing the recovery operations, but today's supporting recovery vessel is Go Beyond here at the Pacific. Other recovery vessels at the East Coast, Bob, Doug, and Go Cosmos are awaiting their next assignment, and possibly Doug is already gearing up for its next upcoming Starlink mission for Group 12-22, I guess. Now, if you feel like we are adding value to your viewing experience, please consider giving this stream a like. It's like fuel for YouTube's algorithm rocket to bring in more space lovers and helping rocket fans to discover this dream. That also helps us to have an amazing community with incredible space enthusiasts like you. Also consider about smashing the subscribe button and turning on the bell notification as we are burning our midnight propellant to bring you streams packed with stats and insights. We would be really grateful for your kind support. Now, once again, before proceeding, please allow us a few moments to check if the launch is proceeding as scheduled and to keep ourselves updated. Well, yes, it's on time, no worries. Now we are approximately 6 minutes away from the webcast to begin, so let's just quickly wrap up with the stats we have for you to share with. Today's launch marks the 489th SpaceX's overall launch and the 44th dedicated Starlink launch for this year. This is going to be the 476th Falcon 9 launch to date, 18th flight of the particular Falcon 9 booster supporting today's mission with tail number 1075 being in action after 111 days. Today's mission marks 61st Falcon 9 launch and SpaceX's 63rd overall launch of 2025. This will be the 417th Falcon booster reflight to date, that is the launch of a booster that has flown at least once before. 126th orbital launch for SpaceX, launching from Space Launch Complex 4 East, and the 193rd overall orbital launch from Pad Sleep 4 East. With the success of this mission, SpaceX will have a remarkable 8,714 Starlink satellites, including 622 dedicated direct-to-cell satellites launched to date. Now moving on to some reusability statistics. This launch marks 401st Falcon 9 booster reflight to date. This will be the 132nd landing on, of course, I'll Still Love You droneship. 18th landing of this first stage booster with tail number 1075 supporting today's mission. With this mission's first stage landing, SpaceX will be having their 360th overall droneship landing, marking 430th Falcon 9 landing so far, and 449th SpaceX's overall landing to date. Now let's take a look into some key stats for SpaceX launches in 2025, including today's mission. With today's mission, SpaceX will be having its 63rd launch of this year, and out of those, 44 are Starlink missions, including today's one. 17 were non-Starlink missions for commercial and government organizations, and 2 Starship launches. 57 of these missions using a reuse booster, including today's one. Now the geographical distribution of the launches are SpaceX is having 41 launches from East Coast. On the West Coast, they will be having 20 launches with today's mission. As of now, 2 launches from Gulf Coast at Starbase in Texas with Starship 7th and 8th test flights, and 2 Super Heavy booster catches for both of those test flights. Now we got the official confirmation from SpaceX that they are targeting the launch of Starship's Flight 9 on 27th of May. And also they gave the explanation of the mishap that happened during the Flight 8. I guess you already have a look into that. Also some good news that SpaceX got approval for 25 launches per year from Starbase, and Starbase is now a city. Now, moving on to the stats again for landing, they will be nailing it for the 59th time this year. Most of the landings are on droneship with 50 landings. And for ground landings, they pulled off 9 of them. Now, in order to retain their return to launch site, also known as RTLS capabilities, SpaceX is working on adding a landing pad at the East Coast. And guess this time it will be one landing zone instead of two, which we are having right now, as because SpaceX's lease for landing zone 1 and 2 is going to expire in the month of July. Now, prior to today's launch, the success rate for ground landings is 98.89%. For droneship landing, it is 96.77%. And the overall landing success rate is 97.18%. The landing success rate for this year dropped to 98.31% due to the failure of the booster with tail number 1086 to land on just with the instructions drone ship during Starlink Group 12-20 mission. Today's mission is the 125th launch since last mission failure, that is Starlink 9-3. On this page of stats are prior to today's launch as well, and what we have here is 124 successful launches since last mission failure, 34 successful landings since last landing failure, booster with tail number 1067 having highest number of successful flights and landings, that is 28 times, 337 missions with at least one reuse failings, and approximately 642 number of fairing halves were reused prior to today's launch. Now, moving on to this year's orbital launch, we have this pie chart. With this 113th orbital launch attempt of the year, United States is leading with 71 launches, followed by China with 30 launches, Russia with 6 launches, 1 launch by Japan, India with 2 launches, and Europe with 3 launches. Australia is about to debut with the launch of Ares rocket, which got scrubbed on its initial attempt due to some fairing half issues. And worth mentioning, there have been 4 failed orbital launch attempts so far this year. Although it's time for the webcast to begin, I don't know why they are not yet rolling. But I'm keeping an eye on that. Nothing to worry, you won't be missing anything. Now let's have a look at the pie chart showing 2025 orbital launches by rocket variations, including today's launch. Falcon 9 is gearing up for its 61st launch. Previously, there were 6 launches for Electron, 1 launch for New Glenn, which was the debut launch for New Glenn. I guess there is some issues going on with SpaceX. Now they're showing that page doesn't exist even. Again, they are pushing the liftoff time or something, although their website is not mentioning anything about that. The website mentions that it's 3:32 p.m. Everywhere the time is perfect, but I don't know why SpaceX is not streaming yet. Well, Pop Typica, can you check on X that whether they are streaming or not? Although I am also in. Yeah, yes. They are streaming. They are streaming. Yes. Well, please allow me a couple of seconds to set the stream for you guys. I hope you already got a look into the pie chart for 2025 orbital launch for rocket variations. So let's head over to the webcast and let me set up the stream for you guys. Just a second, guys. Sorry for delaying. Oh, today they are not showing the name. That's why I was getting confused. Anyway, so here we are. SpaceX started the stream a little bit later today.
Stage 2 lock load is complete.
So we are here with the stage 2 LOX load completion. Already the strong back recline 13 degrees away from the Falcon 9, and you can see one of the fairing half is like having so much soot on it. And right now we are venting the extra pressure, and that cold gas when reacts with the moist humid air gives us these white clouds, and that's an healthy indicator for the launch coming up. Now next event T minus 1 minute, we should be hearing the call out that Falcon 9 flight computers are in startup.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
So there we go, right on time. Falcon 9 flight computers on both the stages are running the rocket to the last minute of count. Now let's listen to the go call out.
Launch director, go for launch.
SpaceX launch director giving go for the launch. So we are coming up at T minus 33 seconds. All system continues to remain go for launch of Falcon 9 and Starlink. Meanwhile, would like to welcome Fairmate joining us. Thanks, Fairmate, for tuning in.
T minus 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. And liftoff of Falcon 9. Go SpaceX, go Starlink.
Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
Vehicle is pitching downrange.
We have a successful liftoff. Falcon 9 has cleared the towers. We will be getting some good views, I guess, because it's a daytime launch. And we are right now 30 seconds into the flight. We are in a throttle bucket and we are throttling down the 9 Merlin engines as we prepare for the period of maximum dynamic stress coming up.
Power and telemetry nominal.
There we go, some healthy callouts for the vehicle. Power and telemetry is nominal. Next.
Falcon 9 is supersonic.
Now we exceeded Mach 1 on the Falcon 9. Now Falcon 9 is faster than the speed of sound as we have gone supersonic. Also, we got the max Q call out. So we are through the period of maximum dynamic stress on the vehicle, and we have throttled back the Merlin engines back up to full power. Next, we are expecting the call out for MVAC engine chill.
MVAC chill.
There we go. So right now we are starting to chill down the MVAC engine on the second stage prior to its ignition just after stage separation. And following that, we will be having 3 events in rapid succession. The shutdown of main engine on first stage, that is main engine cutoff, also known as MECO, followed by stage separation and ignition of the second stage MVAC engine, also known as SES-1, which will boost the payload into low Earth orbit. So let's sit back and wait for those callouts while we have those amazing views from the first stage on our screen.
Main engine cutoff.
Stage separation confirmed.
MVAC ignition.
So there we go. We just got the callouts for all back-to-back milestones. Next, expecting the confirmation call out for the fairing separation. And you can see on the left-hand side of your screen, the hypersonic titanium grid fins to slowly begin deploying.
Fairing separation confirmed.
We got call out that the fairing has successfully separated. Today, the first stage view is crystal clear. I think they upgraded the camera to like 4K or something. Although we are having views of this stream in 4K on X, but I'm saying about the camera view on board the first stage because it's so looking so good. Like, so right now we got the confirmation for the fairing separation that is done. Now the first stage will continue to rise towards the apogee, and I think our moderator Fairmaid will give a confirmation what is the apogee for the first stage, and it will rise to that height of that, also known as the apogee, before descending back towards landing on the drone ship. Of course, I Still Love You station in Pacific Ocean. Second stage, meanwhile, in its 6 minute of burn, is on its way into the parking orbit, and we are getting amazing views from the second stage on the right hand side of your screen. So to my observation, it's 116 kilometers of apogee for the first stage, and before it will be descending back towards the landing site for today. Well, yes, I got the confirmation from our moderator Fairmaid as well. It's 116 kilometers. Now, next milestone in today's flight we are looking for is the start of the stage 1 entry burn. Meanwhile, just a reminder, we previously saw group 14 being skipped entirely, with SpaceX jumping straight to group 15. Now again, group 16, or you can say the shell 16, will be getting skipped with the upcoming group 17-1 launch from here at Slick 4 East no earlier than May 27, 2025. And that launch will also mark the first Starlink launch to a sun-synchronous orbit inclination in over 2 years, following
Vehicles are on a nominal trajectory.
Group 3-5 launch back in 2023. Previously, we had 5 launches under Group 3, each deploying 46 version 1.5 Starlink satellites to a sun-synchronous orbit at an altitude of 560 kilometers.
Stage 1 FTS has saved.
And Well, I'm coming to that. So now we got the confirmation of stage 1 entry burn startup. Here we just lit Merlin 3 of the 9 Merlin 1D engines on the first stage, and we are rapidly slowing down the vehicle. You can see from the bottom left hand side of your screen from the telemetry. And this burn lasted for 24 seconds with the confirmation of stage 1 entry burn shutdown. Meanwhile, we did got the call out for stage 1 FTS being saved, meaning the entry burn for the stage 1 is accomplished successfully. Now, when we will be hearing the stage 2 FTS being saved, it means the stage 2 went through its orbital insertion burn. Next, we are expecting the call out for stage 1 transonic.
Stage 2 FTS has
Stage
saved.
1 transonic.
We got both the call out, stage 1 transonic and stage 2 FTS being saved. So right now the Falcon 9 is slower than the speed of sound as it heads towards landing. We are less than 60 seconds away from that, and we will be getting some awesome views from the first stage as it's descending through the clouds there. Stage 1 landing burn call out. So right now the center E9 engine is now lit, and with that we are slowing down the vehicle furthermore. Should be seeing those landing legs deploy any seconds now. Stage 1 landing legs deployed.
Stage 1 landing confirmed.
And there we have it. We made the 430th landing of an orbital class Falcon 9 rocket. Coming up next, we will have the second stage engine cutoff, that is SECO 1, and following that event, the second stage with payload on board will enter into nearly 45 minutes of coast phase as the vehicle ascends to its target orbit. And there's a visual confirmation of MVAC shutdown, although we didn't got the call out. There is no confirmation for the nominal orbit insertion as well. I guess they skipped that. There is some issue with them today. Don't know why, but anyways, we were expecting for those two callouts, but rest assured, things happened as it should be. Now, today's launch marks SpaceX's 489th successful mission, with the landing marking their 449th success. And here is a bit of confusion you guys will be having, that it should be 450th landing for SpaceX, but I hope they are counting that last landing failure because it was a partial landing failure, but we are not counting that. So with that, we will wrap up our coverage for now. But before that, would like to thank Poptripica for joining us after a long time. Also thanks Fairmate for tuning in, and I forgot to ask you how you are doing, and hope that you are doing well, Fairmate. And once again, heartfelt thanks for tuning in. Now, before wrapping up, just want to finish that what I was saying, that with the Starlink Group 17-1 launch, that will be a sun synchronous orbit launch for Starlink mission after 2 years, and previously we had 5 launches under Group 3, each deploying 46 version 1.5 Starlink satellites to a sun synchronous orbit at an altitude of 560 kilometers with a 97.6 degrees inclination. Similarly, the upcoming Starlink Group 17-1 mission will target a near polar orbit with the same inclination, that is 97.6 degrees, and this sun-synchronous orbit is intended to improve Starlink's coverage in remote polar regions. And also worth mentioning that previous launches for sun-synchronous orbit were for the version 1.5 variant, but this time it's going to be the version 2 mini, so that will be having more efficiency. I know it sounds a technical jargon, but just wanted to give you an update. So now we will be wrapping up the stream, and before that, most importantly, want to thank you for wherever you are watching our live launch coverage. It is next to impossible to do this broadcast without you and your encouragement. So heartfelt thank for your continued support of what we do here at AstroYonder. Well, Bob Deepika, yes, 4 days. I already scheduled a stream. I stayed up like it's 4 in the morning. I'm still awake. I scheduled a stream. Everything is set up. So hope to see you on Starship. And but before that, we have two more Starlink launches. So I hope I will be able to cover them. Although the streams, one of them are posted on our channel. So let's enjoy the upcoming Starship Flight 9. But this time, unfortunately, we won't be having the booster catch attempt. So that's a little bit sad, disheartening. But well, we can sacrifice a little bit of our eye pleasure to have for the sake of Starship's development. Now, please be sure to check out our social media handle on X for the latest happening in space industry and updates on upcoming launches. Hope you enjoyed the stream, although there was a little bit of glitch from SpaceX's end. They started a little bit late, and we appreciate everyone joining us for today's launch. Wishing you a nice weekend ahead. Once again, thanks for watching. This is AstroYonder Live and me, Dipta, sign off for now, and we will see you soon.